Good morning, everyone. Just to say, I really enjoyed hearing from Ellie, Sam and Cameron. I've really enjoyed your language stories so far, and it reminds us all why we love languages so much. So while the slides appear, I'm Matt, and believe it or not, I'm an intelligence officer at gchq, specifically an Arabic linguist. So if we go to the next slide, we'll see my profile. So for security reasons, I'm not able to have my camera turned on, but I am allowed to tell you a bit about myself and my career in languages. So I've always loved languages, probably quite similar to the other speakers in many ways, and I was lucky to be able to study French and German at school at GCSE, which I really enjoyed. But for me, the true joy was using those languages for real when abroad. Despite that, in the end, I chose to study sciences at A-level university, but I kept up languages as a hobby. So I practice them on holiday. And as everyone has said, it's a hugely rewarding way to use languages, use them for real abroad, and a great way of showing respect to people from other countries, and also experiencing a new culture on a deeper level, a level that you can't really experience any other way. So after university, I joined GCHQ as a technical analyst. I'd seen the recruitment adverts and I thought the work sounded really interesting, a good way to potentially make a difference. And I also hoped secretly that I'd be able to learn languages again, and I wasn't disappointed. So after a year or so working in technology, I decided to become a linguist full-time. I was given an intensive course in Arabic, which was hard work, but really enjoyable. And I'm now a qualified Arabic linguist. What do I work on? Well, unfortunately, that's classified, but I can say that it's very exciting work. Next slide, please. So what is GCHQ? Well, it stands for Government Communications Headquarters, which doesn't mean an awful lot. But and some of you may have heard of us before. Others of you might have seen us being invaded by the Daleks on Doctor Who recently. And others of you may never have heard of us at all. So we're an intelligence agency alongside MI5 and MI6, which means we gather information secretly to keep the UK safe. If we could click, we'll see some of the work that we do. So some of us work on preventing terrorist attacks, stopping the spread of dangerous weapons around the world, and others work to combat serious organised crime. Next slide, please. Our main office is in Cheltenham, which is in the west of England, and you can see pictures of our headquarters there with the red arrows going overhead. It's shaped in a ring, so it's known as the donut. And I can attest that a lot of people that work there do like donuts. Next slide, please. We do also, so this is the inside of the donut, and you can see that at some stage, Prince William joined us for a time and worked alongside us. Next slide, please. And we do also work from other locations around the UK. This is a picture of one of our other sites, which is on the coast in the southwest. There are also exciting travel opportunities outside the UK, which are really a valuable part of the job, but I can't unfortunately say much more about it. You'd have to join us to find out more. Next slide, please. So what do linguists at GCHQ do? Well, GCHQ collects information from around the world, and as most of the world doesn't speak English, most of this is in other languages. And that makes linguists essential. We need people who speak other languages to translate, decode and interpret information. And besides that, they also bring cultural expertise and a knowledge of current affairs in other parts of the world. So it's not just about translation, it's also about expertise and imparting knowledge to teams that require that information. And being a linguist at GCHQ means you gain a wide range of skills and not just in languages. So people who do languages also need to understand and work with new technologies, which are constantly changing. And that's what makes my job so exciting, is that I have the opportunity to combine technical knowledge from my past in science with language knowledge and knowledge of Arabic. Next slide, please. So what do we do more specifically? What does a day job look like? So the first step really is to look for information. Before you have any information, you can't really start. So you need to find some, which could be of interest, say information that points towards a potential terrorist attack. And if we click to the next one, Once you've got that information, it's probably going to be in another language. So what you need to do is you need to translate it into English so that it can be understood by people who don't speak that language. And another click, please. Once we've translated it, we then need to analyze it. So we might have it in English, but we might not know what it really means. People might not be speaking in a plain way that's easy to understand. So then it needs to be analyzed, which just means pointing out exactly what the importance of that information is. And next click. So if we then find something that is of interest, that is important enough that other people need to know about it, we'll write a report. So that information will be written up in a formal way and issued according to all the regulations to what we call customers in other departments. So they could be in the Foreign Office, the Cabinet Office, the Home Office, the Ministry of Defence, or they could be other agencies like MI5 and MI6. And that, it could even, if it's so important, it could go straight to the Prime Minister. Next slide, please. So what are some challenges? There are some peculiar challenges in addition to all the challenges that the other speakers spoke about when you're working in intelligence. Perhaps the bottom one on the slide is the most important, which is that you can't ask for clarification. If you were a translator in the private sector, you might be able to go back to the person who said whatever it was in another language and ask them what they meant. You could ask them to put it in a different way. Unfortunately, that's not something that we're able to do. So we just have to make the best effort that we can. But there's other issues like dialects, slang, veiled speech, which means that people might be trying to make the job difficult for us. They might be using jargon, so they might be using really long technical words that are difficult to understand, which means that we have to develop that understanding ourselves. Or they might be talking about niche subjects, things that only very few people know about, which we then also have to become experts in order to understand what they're saying. And that's a separate challenge from even knowing what they're saying in terms of translating it from another language. There's all these other issues on top of it as well. Next slide, please. So how does anyone become a GCHQ language analyst? Well, here's some of the advice that we give students. It's a good idea if you can to study languages at A-level, definitely at GCSE, but and if you have a variety of languages, that's obviously going to be ideal. Having said that, of course, I didn't study languages at A-level, so even if you joined us without language skills, you could always find training. Of course, if you study a language at university, you might be able to find your way onto a specific language scheme. But you could also just as well use a language that you already speak. So if you in your household speak a foreign language, it may be that you have the skills that you need already to become a language analyst with GCHQ. Another thing to consider is that combining languages with other subjects like science can be a really valuable combination. And I speak not just for GCHQ, but for other employers around the country, that if you combine languages with economics or science, you'll find some really interesting jobs that allow you to use both of those skills. Next slide, please. And we need a wide range of languages. These are just some languages which appear on our recruitment website: Arabic, Chinese, Korean, Persian, and Russian. But there's a lot more. So it doesn't matter what your language experience, because even if you spoke a language which we didn't need, it would always be a valuable skill set for us to teach you another language that we do need. Next slide, please. So that's about all from me. I'm sorry that I couldn't go into more detail on some of those points, but I think in summary, I agree with everything that the other speakers have said. Languages are super exciting, and even if you don't use them in your career, they really open doors in life generally, and it's always valuable to develop that understanding of other cultures and be able to travel around the world and connect with people using other languages. So thank you very much.